Hello there, and welcome back to Stellar Sleep Stories. I'm so glad you've chosen to join me tonight for something truly extraordinary. Tonight, we're going somewhere no human has ever been, a place where oceans lap against frozen shores under an orange sky, where rain falls constantly, but it's not water. It's liquid methane, cold enough to shatter steel like glass. We're going to Saturn's moon, Titan, and you're not just going to observe it, you're going to become part of it. Before we begin this incredible journey, I'd love to hear from you. What draws you to these cosmic adventures? Is it the vastness of space that helps your worries feel smaller? Or maybe it's the rhythm of alien worlds that soothes your busy mind. Leave a comment and let me know what distant shores you dream about. I read every single one, and they inspire future journeys we'll take together. Now, let's prepare for tonight's transformation. Find that perfect position where your body can completely let go. Maybe you're already there, wrapped in your favorite blanket. Or perhaps you're still adjusting, finding that sweet spot where everything feels just right. Take a breath with me. Nice and easy. There's no special way you need to breathe tonight. Just let your lungs find their own gentle rhythm. The same way rain finds its own pattern. The same way waves find their own shore. Feel the weight of your body sinking into the mattress. Every muscle can soften now, from the top of your head down through your shoulders, your arms, your chest, all the way down to your toes. You're safe, you're comfortable, and you're about to experience something amazing. Tonight, you're going to become something you've never been before. You're going to become a single drop of liquid methane, born in the upper atmosphere of Titan, Saturn's largest moon. This isn't just any journey, this is your journey. You'll fall as rain through clouds thicker than any on Earth. You'll join rivers that flow like honey through valleys carved from water ice harder than granite. And finally, you'll merge with seas so vast that Earth's Great Lakes would be mere puddles beside them. The rhythm of your journey will be like rain and waves, but not the kind you know. This is alien rain that falls at walking pace, alien waves that move in slow motion under Saturn's distant pull. It's a meditation that's both strange and deeply familiar, because water is water, whether it's made of H2O or liquid methane, and every drop knows how to find the sea. Titan is the only other world in our solar system with liquid on its surface, the only other place with clouds, rain, rivers, and seas. But at negative 290 degrees Fahrenheit, water is frozen harder than rock, and methane, the natural gas we use for fuel on Earth, becomes a liquid that behaves just like water does here. NASA's Cassini spacecraft spent 13 years studying Saturn and its moons. It dropped a probe called Huygens that actually landed on Titan's surface in 2005, the most distant landing humanity has ever achieved. The images it sent back showed rounded pebbles, drainage channels, all the signs of flowing liquid, but in an alien context that challenged everything we thought we knew about where rivers could flow. Tonight, you'll experience what those instruments could only measure. You'll feel what it's like to condense from vapor at the edge of space, to fall through an atmosphere 4 times thicker than Earth, to flow across a landscape where mountains are made of ice and bedrock is frozen water. And in the depths of Kraken Mare, that vast northern sea larger than all of Earth's Great Lakes combined, you'll discover mysteries that scientists can only dream about. Places where the pressure squeezes methane into forms we've never seen, where theoretical chemistries might support forms of life we can barely imagine, where the slow, eternal tides create a rhythm that's been playing for billions of years. So, close your eyes, let your breathing slow, and prepare to become something wonderfully different. Prepare to become rain on another world. You begin high above Titan, so high that the moon curves beneath you like a hazy orange ball. You're not a drop yet, just a collection of methane molecules dancing in the thin upper atmosphere, nearly 600 miles above the surface. Up here, it's different than you might expect. The sun is just a bright star, about the size of a large marble held at arm's length. But its ultraviolet light is working its slow magic on you, breaking apart methane molecules, rearranging them, creating complex organic compounds that drift like snow. You feel yourself clustering with other molecules, attracted by the gentle forces that govern all matter. It's so cold here, minus 300 degrees Fahrenheit. But that's perfect for what you're becoming. At these temperatures, you naturally want to condense, to come together, to transform from invisible gas into something more. Saturn fills a third of the sky above you, its butterscotch bands rotating with stately grace. You can see its rings edge on from here, a razor-thin line of light cutting across the giant planet. Every 2 weeks, Saturn passes directly overhead, and its gravity gives you the gentlest tug, a reminder that you're part of a larger dance. The process of becoming a drop is slow, so slow. It takes days for enough molecules to gather. You grow atom by atom, molecule by molecule, like a pearl forming in slow motion. Other drops are forming around you, millions of them, billions, all part of the endless cycle that's been happening for eons. As you grow heavier, you begin to sink, very gently at first. The atmosphere here is so thin you barely feel it. But it's there, mostly nitrogen, just like Earth's atmosphere, with a touch of methane that makes everything, well, on Earth it would smell like natural gas, but here it's just the scent of home. You're entering the thermosphere now, still 300 miles up. The temperature actually rises a bit here, if you can call minus 270 degrees rising. Solar particles from the sun create a faint glow around you, an aurora that would look green from below if anyone was there to see it. But it's not the harsh electric green of Earth's auroras, it's softer, more like moonlight through jade. Your descent is picking up speed, but it's still so gently. In Titan's low gravity, just 1/7 of Earth's, everything falls slowly, dreamlike. You're moving at walking pace, sometimes slower. There's no rush. There never is on Titan. Around 200 miles up, You enter the stratosphere. The haze layers begin here, layer after layer of complex organic molecules that Cassini studied for years. They're like veils of amber and gold, each one slightly different in color and composition. You pass through them one by one, each adding its own molecules to your growing form. You're a proper drop now, about the size of a pinhead. But in this gentle gravity, you feel lighter than air. You tumble slowly, end over end. No preferred direction, just following the path of least resistance, down, always down. The pressure is building around you, still less than Earth's atmosphere at sea level, but enough that you're starting to feel the flow of gases around you. Methane is condensing everywhere now. You can sense other drops nearby, some larger, some smaller, all on the same journey. Below you, the real clouds are starting to form, not the thin hazes you've been passing through, but proper clouds, dense and thick. They stretch as far as you can see, which isn't very far anymore. The orange haze has thickened so much that Saturn has disappeared. The sun is just a dim glow, like a flashlight through heavy fog. You're part of something ancient now. This methane you're made of wasn't formed on Titan. It came from the original solar nebula, the cloud of gas and dust that became our solar system 4.6 billion years ago. You've been waiting all that time for this moment, to fall as rain on this distant moon. The temperature continues to drop as you descend. -280, -285. Approaching that magic number where you'll remain liquid all the way to the surface. Your molecules are slowing down, arranging themselves into the loose structure of liquid methane, ready for the next phase of your journey. Below you, the cloud deck awaits, 1,000 miles of orange mystery, where you'll truly begin your transformation from a simple drop into part of Titan's vast hydrological cycle. But for now, you just fall, slowly, gently, inevitably, drawn by gravity's patient pull toward the hidden surface below. Now you enter the clouds proper, and everything changes. The thin wisps of the upper atmosphere give way to something thick, dense, almost tangible. These aren't clouds like Earth knows. These are methane clouds mixed with complex organics, tholins, the scientists call them, compounds that don't exist naturally on Earth. You're 125 miles above the surface now, falling through what feels like liquid honey. The atmosphere is so thick here that your descent has slowed even more. You're drifting, floating, carried by winds that blow steadily from west to east at about 250 miles per hour. But you don't feel the speed. Everything moves together, one vast river of air. Other drops surround you now, millions of them. You collide gently, merge, separate, merge again. Sometimes you're a single drop, Sometimes you're part of a larger globule. It doesn't matter. You're all heading the same direction, down toward the surface that's still hidden far below. The orange deepens as you descend. It's like falling through eternal sunset. The color comes from the breakdown of methane high above, the same chemistry that creates smog on Earth. But here, it's natural, pristine. It's been happening for billions of years, painting this moon in shades of amber and rust. At 60 miles up, you encounter the first major cloud layer. These are nitrogen clouds, believe it or not. On Earth, nitrogen is always a gas. But here in this deep cold, even nitrogen can condense. You pass through them like diving through foam, each layer adding its own character to your descent. The pressure is building. You're feeling compressed, not uncomfortably, but noticeably. Your molecules pack a little tighter, move a little slower. The temperature has stabilized at minus 290 degrees Fahrenheit, the perfect temperature for liquid methane. You'll stay this temperature all the way to the surface. Lightning flickers somewhere in the distance, not the sharp electric bolts of Earth, but a softer, slower discharge. Scientists think it might help create some of the complex molecules that drift around you. Each flash illuminates the clouds from within, turning them briefly golden before fading back to orange. You're in the troposphere now, the weather layer, where Titan's methane cycle really happens. Just like Earth's water cycle, but in slow motion. Everything here takes its time. Storms that would develop in hours on Earth take weeks here. Rain that would fall in minutes takes hours. At 30 miles up, you enter the main methane clouds, your birthplace in a sense. This is where most drops form, where the temperature and pressure are just right for methane to condense en masse. You join countless others, all forming, falling, growing. The drops are getting bigger now. On Earth, raindrops can only grow so large before air resistance tears them apart. But here, in this thick atmosphere and low gravity, drops can grow enormous. Some around you are as big as marbles, falling at the same lazy pace. You merge with one of these giant drops, feeling yourself absorbed into something larger. Your individual identity dissolves, but you're still you. Just part of a bigger you. This is how rain works on Titan. Not millions of tiny drops, but thousands of huge ones, falling like slow-motion hail. 20 miles up now. The clouds are thinning below you. You can almost sense the surface, though you can't see it yet. The wind has slowed. Everything is quieter, more peaceful. You're approaching the end of your aerial journey. 10 miles, 5 miles. The clouds part like curtains, and there it is. Titan's surface. A landscape of dark plains and bright highlands, frozen water mountains, and liquid methane streams. It looks almost like Earth, if Earth was painted in shades of brown and black and frozen in time. You're falling faster now. Not fast by Earth standards, but fast for Titan, maybe 15 miles per hour, like a gentle bike ride. The ground is rushing up slowly. You can see where you'll land, a flat plain near the edge of a vast sea. 3 miles, 2 miles, 1 mile. The surface resolves into details. Channels carved by previous rains, rounded cobbles of water ice, dark patches where liquid has pooled and evaporated countless times. This is your destination, the place where you'll transform once again. The final 1,000 feet take forever, or seem to. You have time to observe everything. The way the orange light makes everything glow. The absolute stillness of the landscape. The patience of geological time made visible. And then, gently, so gently, you touch down. You touch the frozen ground with barely a splash, more like a gentle merging. The surface here is hard as concrete, made of water ice, frozen at temperatures that would make Antarctica feel tropical. But you don't freeze. At minus 290 degrees, you're perfectly liquid, perfectly stable. For a moment, you just rest, feeling the solid world beneath you for the first time. You've fallen over 600 miles through Titan's atmosphere, a journey that's taken nearly 10 Earth days, and now you're here, on the surface of Saturn's largest moon, 886 million miles from the Sun. The ground beneath you is fascinating. It's bedrock made of water ice, but overlaid with a dark, organic sludge that's been accumulating for millions of years. Every time drops like you land and evaporate, they leave behind traces of the complex hydrocarbons they've collected during their fall, building up layer by layer like a kind of alien soil. You're not alone. Other drops are landing around you. That same gentle patter that's been happening for billions of years. On Earth, rain sounds sharp, distinct, each drop its own note. But here, with drops so large and falling so slowly, it's different. It's more like a soft drumming, muffled, distant, hypnotic. You begin to spread across the surface, seeking the path of least resistance. The ground has a gentle slope here, so subtle you'd barely notice it standing up, but you feel it. Every liquid knows how to find downhill. It's the most basic truth of your existence. As you flow, you merge with other drops that have already landed, becoming a tiny trickle, then a rivulet. You're following channels carved by countless rains before you. These channels are ancient. Some scientists think they're millions of years old. Others think they reform every Titan year, every 30 Earth years, when the seasons change. The landscape around you is alien, yet familiar. If you could see it from above, you'd recognize the patterns. They're the same patterns water creates on Earth. Dendritic drainage, braided streams, alluvial fans. Physics works the same everywhere. Liquid flows downhill, carves channels, seeks its level. You're picking up speed now, not much, but enough to feel momentum. The channel you're in is maybe a foot wide, carved into the dark ground. Other trickles join you from both sides, each adding their volume to yours. You're becoming a stream. The sky above is perpetually orange, like being inside a sunset that never ends. Saturn is invisible through the thick atmosphere, but you can feel its presence. Every 16 days, Titan completes one orbit, and the tides it creates are subtle but real. Even here, hundreds of miles from the nearest sea, Saturn's gravity influences how you flow. Your stream joins another, then another. The channel is 3 feet wide now, 6 feet, 10 feet. You're a proper river, flowing at maybe 1 mile per hour, about the speed of a gentle walk. The sound you make is different from Earth rivers, deeper, more muffled, like water flowing under a thick blanket. You pass over a small waterfall, except it's not water, it's you, liquid methane cascading over a ledge of water ice. The drop is only 6 feet, but in Titan's low gravity, you fall so slowly it seems like you're floating. You land in a pool below with barely a ripple. The surface tension different, stronger, making patterns that would be impossible on Earth. The riverbed you're flowing through tells a story. Rounded cobbles of water ice, worn smooth by millions of years of methane flow. Some are as big as basketballs, others like marbles. All sorted by size, the way rivers always sort their stones. The current carries the small ones, leaves the big ones behind. You're absorbing things as you flow. Tiny particles of organic compounds, some formed in the atmosphere, some created right here on the surface by the weak sunlight. You're becoming a chemical soup, carrying the building blocks of life, or at least something like life, from the highlands to the seas. 20 miles you've flowed now, 30, 40. The landscape is flattening out. You're approaching the coastal plains, vast areas that flood and dry with the changing seasons. Right now they're dry, but you can see the high water marks on the channel walls, stains that show where the methane rose during the last big rain. Other rivers are joining yours. Each one brings its own chemistry, its own temperature, its own history. Some have flowed through regions rich in tholins. They're darker, more viscous. Some have come from the icy highlands. They're clearer, faster, all mixing together in a dance of fluid dynamics. The channel is 100 feet wide now, a proper river by any standard. You're part of something massive, millions of gallons of liquid methane all flowing toward the same destination. The sound is constant, soothing, like white noise, but deeper, more resonant. You can smell the sea before you see it, or rather, you can sense it. The chemistry changes. The air becomes denser with methane vapor. The pressure shifts subtly. Everything tells you you're approaching something vast. And then, through the orange haze, you see it. A dark line on the horizon, stretching as far as you can perceive in both directions. Kraken Mare, the largest sea on Titan, larger than Lake Superior, deeper than Lake Michigan, filled with liquid methane just like you. The final miles to the sea are the gentlest. The river slows, widens, becomes almost meditative in its movement. You're in no hurry. There's never any hurry on Titan. Everything happens in its own time, measured in seasons that last 7 Earth years each. You're flowing through what scientists call a fluvial valley, carved by rivers like yours over millions of years. The walls rise 300 feet on either side, made of water ice so hard it might as well be granite. They're stratified, layered, each line representing a different epoch in Titan's history. The river meanders now, swinging back and forth in great lazy curves. On Earth, rivers meander because of the Coriolis effect and variations in the landscape. Here it's the same, but slower, more pronounced. Each curve takes miles to complete. Each oxbow lake beside the channel represents thousands of years of patient erosion. You pass through regions where the riverbed is pure water ice, polished to a mirror shine by the constant flow. In Titan's dim light, it gleams like black glass, reflecting the orange sky and ripples that move in slow motion. Everything here moves like it's been filmed and played back at quarter speed. There are rapids, if you can call them that, places where the riverbed drops a few feet, where the current picks up to maybe 2 miles per hour. The methane foams and bubbles, but not like water would. The bubbles are more stable, lasting longer, creating foam patterns that would be impossible on Earth. You carry so much with you now: dissolved nitrogen from the atmosphere, complex hydrocarbons from the plains, tiny grains of water ice eroded from the mountains. You're not just methane anymore. You're a cocktail of Titan, a liquid sample of an entire world. The temperature hasn't changed, still that constant minus 290 degrees. It's one of the strange things about Titan. The temperature barely varies, day to night, summer to winter, pole to equator, just a few degrees difference. It's like the entire moon is held in a state of perpetual twilight chill. Birds would love this river, if birds could exist here. The channel is full of perfect nesting spots, overhangs and caves carved by the flow, islands that flood and emerge with the seasons. But there are no birds, no fish, no visible life at all. Just the patient flow of liquid through time. Although, who knows what might be here, invisible to our eyes? Scientists have speculated about life based on liquid methane instead of water, using acetylene instead of sugar for food, breathing hydrogen instead of oxygen. It would be life completely unlike anything on Earth, but life nonetheless. You flow under a bridge. Well, not a bridge exactly, but a natural arch of water ice spanning the river, carved by wind and methane rain over millennia. It's 50 feet above you, delicate as spun glass, but strong as steel in this deep cold. The riverbanks are changing, becoming softer, made of frozen methane mixed with organic compounds. Sometimes chunks break off and fall into the flow, dissolving slowly, adding their mass to yours. It's erosion in slow motion, reshaping the landscape one molecule at a time. You can feel the tides now, subtle but unmistakable. Kraken Mare is close enough that Saturn's gravity affects its level, raising and lowering it by a few feet over Titan's 16-day orbit. The river responds, speeding up slightly as the tide goes out, slowing as it comes in. Wildlife paths cross the river, or they would be wildlife paths on Earth. Here, they're probably just natural formations, channels carved by smaller streams, cracks in the ice expanded by thermal cycles. But they look so deliberate, so purposeful, like something uses them. The river splits into distributaries now, breaking apart as it enters its delta. You have to choose a channel, but it doesn't matter which one. They all lead to the same place. You take the leftmost branch, following a path that winds through islands of frozen hydrocarbons. These islands are temporary, forming and dissolving with the seasons. Right now they're solid, but during the rainy season they'll disappear, becoming part of the flow. Everything here is transient on geological timescales, even things that seem permanent. You pass through stands of what look like trees, if trees were made of ice and grew in methane. They're actually complex ice formations, created by vapor deposition and erosion. But in the dim light, they're hauntingly beautiful, like a forest frozen in glass. The current is almost non-existent now. You're barely moving, just drifting. The river has become a maze of channels and pools, marshland that's neither fully liquid nor fully solid. You wind through it patiently, knowing the sea is close. And then, finally, the channels open up. The marshland gives way to open liquid. The horizon expands, and you're there, at the edge of Kraken Mare, where river becomes sea, where your journey transforms once again. The moment you enter Kraken Mare, everything changes. The confined flow of the river gives way to something vast, unbounded, infinite. You're no longer being carried, you're part of something that carries itself. An ocean of liquid methane stretching beyond the horizon. The transition is gentle. There's no dramatic meeting of waters like where Earth's rivers meet the sea. Here, river and sea are made of the same thing. Liquid methane at the same temperature, the same density. You simply spread out, dispersing, becoming one with the larger body. Kraken Mare is enormous, 680 miles long, 280 miles wide at its widest point. If it existed on Earth, it would stretch from New York to Chicago, from the Canadian border to Tennessee. But here, it's just one of several seas, part of a network of liquid bodies that dot Titan's northern hemisphere. You can feel the difference immediately. The sea has its own personality, its own rhythm. Where the river was directed, purposeful, the sea is contemplative, patient. It moves in circles within circles, gyres that have been spinning for thousands of years. The surface is impossibly smooth. Waves exist, but they're tiny, maybe an inch high at most, moving at walking pace across the vast expanse. In the thick atmosphere and low gravity, the wind can barely ruffle the surface. It's like looking at a lake of oil, dark, reflective, mysteriously calm. You're floating now, part of the surface layer. The density of liquid methane is about half that of water, so different rules apply. Things that would sink in water float here. Things that would float might sink. It's a world where intuition fails, where you have to learn new ways of being. The color of the sea is hard to describe. In the dim orange light that filters through the atmosphere, the methane appears almost black. But catch it at the right angle, and it gleams like bronze, like copper, like burnt amber. It's a color that doesn't exist on Earth, a color that belongs only here. Below you, the sea extends down 500 feet in some places, maybe deeper. No one knows for sure. The Cassini spacecraft could only measure so much from orbit. There could be trenches down there, underwater canyons, features we can't even imagine, all hidden beneath the dark surface. You taste the sea, if taste is the right word. It's different from the river, saltier, except there's no salt. It's enriched with dissolved nitrogen, propane, ethane, other hydrocarbons that give it a complex chemistry. You're floating in a cocktail of organic compounds that would be worth billions as fuel on Earth. The shoreline is visible in the distance. Dark beaches of organic sand, cliffs of water ice rising like white walls. Sometimes pieces of ice break off. These methane bergs float like regular icebergs, but they're made of frozen water, floating in liquid methane. Another reversal of Earth logic. You drift with the current. And there is a current. Kraken Mare isn't static. It circulates, driven by subtle temperature differences, by Saturn's tides, by the Coriolis effect of Titan's rotation. The circulation is slow. It would take years to complete one circuit, but it's there, patient, eternal. Other rivers are entering the sea around you. Each brings its own contribution. Some are warmer by a fraction of a degree. They create gentle upwellings, mixing zones where different chemistries meet. These might be the most interesting places in all of Kraken Mare, where complexity emerges from simplicity. Birds call overhead. No, wait, that's not right. There are no birds. But something makes sounds. The crack of ice adjusting to temperature changes. The whisper of methane evaporating from the surface. The deep groans of the frozen landscape responding to tidal forces. It's like the moon itself is singing, low, slow, hypnotic. You encounter your first methane rain over the sea. Drops falling from orange clouds directly into the liquid below. Each impact creates perfect circular ripples that expand outward, intersecting, creating interference patterns that would fascinate any physicist. But here it's just weather, just another day on Titan. The rain intensifies, becomes a downpour by Titan standards, which means drops the size of small pebbles falling at 15 miles per hour. The sound is incredible, like 100 drums playing in slow rhythm, but muffled, distant, as if heard through water. Lightning flashes somewhere over the sea, illuminating the clouds from within. For a brief moment, the entire scene is painted in gold and amber. Then darkness returns, that perpetual twilight that defines this world. Saturn light is 100 times dimmer than sunlight on Earth, creating an eternal dusk. You're being pulled north now, toward the center of Kraken Mare. The sea is deeper there, more mysterious. Some scientists think there might be a layer of liquid ethane beneath the methane, slightly denser, creating a two-layer ocean, but no one knows for sure. As you drift, you pass over variations in the seafloor, visible as darker and lighter patches on the surface. Hills and valleys 300 feet below,
affecting the currents above, creating upwellings and downwellings that mix the layers, keeping the sea alive, dynamic, ever-changing. The horizon is lost in haze now. You can't see land in any direction. You're in the true open ocean of Titan, alone with the vast expanse of liquid. It's peaceful here, profoundly peaceful. No waves to speak of, no wind to disturb you, just the gentle circulation of an entire sea.
You've been drifting for days now, Titan days, which are 16 Earth days long. The sea has become your entire world, its rhythms, your rhythms, its patience, your patience. You've entered a shallower region where the seafloor is only 50 feet below. In these shallows, the sea behaves differently. The tides are more noticeable, rising and falling by 3 or 4 feet. It doesn't sound like much, but spread over hundreds of square miles, it's an enormous amount of liquid moving, breathing in and out with Saturn's pull. The bottom is visible here on the clearest days, when the orange haze thins just enough. It's covered in what scientists call drowned valleys, river channels that formed when the sea level was lower, maybe during Titan's version of an ice age. They're preserved perfectly in the cold, ghost rivers beneath the sea. You encounter something unexpected, bubbles rising from below. Nitrogen bubbles extracted from the atmosphere and dissolved in the methane, but released when the pressure changes. They rise slowly, so slowly, taking minutes to travel from bottom to surface, where they pop with tiny sighs. These bubbles create streams, columns of rising gas that you can follow. They're like underwater geysers, but gentle, patient. Some scientists think they might be important, mixing the seas, preventing stratification, keeping the chemistry active. The seafloor here is covered in sediment, organic sludge that's been settling for millions of years. Every particle that falls through the atmosphere, every bit of erosion from the rivers, it all ends up here, building layers like pages in a book, recording Titan's history. You flow over fields of what look like underwater dunes, ripples in the sediment created by the slow currents. They're maybe a foot high, spaced 10 feet apart, regular as washboard. They migrate slowly, a few inches per year, patient sculptures of fluid dynamics. Sometimes you encounter depressions in the seafloor, sinkholes where the underlying water ice has dissolved. They're like underwater lakes, except they're filled with the same methane you're made of, just slightly different in temperature, in chemistry, creating visible boundaries where the liquids meet but don't quite mix. The shallow seas are where the most complex chemistry happens. Light penetrates here, not much, but enough. The weak sunlight drives chemical reactions, breaking apart methane, creating ethane, propane, butane, complex chains of hydrocarbons that would take massive refineries to produce on Earth.
You pass through regions where the liquid is different colors. Slightly redder here, where iron compounds have dissolved from the sediment. Slightly greener there, where copper-bearing ices have melted. It's subtle. You'd need instruments to really see it. But you can feel the difference in how the liquid moves.
Fish would love it here, if fish could exist in liquid methane. The water column is perfect for swimming, for hunting, for hiding. There are even things that look like seaweed, long strands of complex hydrocarbons that formed into polymers, waving in the gentle current. But they're not alive, probably. The pressure waves from distant shores reach you here. Seismic echoes from methane quakes when ice shelves collapse. They travel through the liquid at about 3 times the speed of sound in air, creating vibrations you feel more than hear, like the deepest bass note ever played. You're part of a convection cell now, warmed by geothermal heat from below, just a fraction of a degree, but enough to make you rise. You float upward, reach the surface, cool, sink again. A cycle that takes days to complete, but it's constant, reliable, like breathing. The surface here is covered with a thin film, an oil slick of heavier hydrocarbons that won't evaporate. It makes rainbow patterns in the dim light, swirls and spirals that form and reform, abstract art painted by chemistry and physics. Occasionally, something disturbs the surface, a chunk of ice falling from nowhere, maybe dropped by the wind from some distant cliff. It makes a splash in slow motion, sends waves radiating outward that take hours to dissipate. Then stillness returns, as if nothing ever happened. You encounter your first real wave, generated by wind that's been blowing steadily for weeks across hundreds of miles of open sea. It's only 6 inches high, but in this gravity, it seems enormous. You rise up its face, crest at the top, slide down the back. The wavelength is huge, maybe 300 feet, making it more like a moving hill than a wave. The taste of the sea is changing, becoming richer, more complex. You're approaching the deep basins where the real mysteries of Kraken Mare hide. Places no human instrument has explored, where pressure and chemistry create conditions unlike anywhere else in the solar system. Night is falling, though on Titan, night and day don't mean much. The temperature drops by maybe 2 degrees. The dim orange light becomes dimmer orange darkness. Saturn rises like a giant lantern. 75 times larger than Earth's moon appears from Earth, casting golden light through the haze. You continue drifting, patient, eternal. Part of the sea now, part of the vast liquid system that makes Titan unique. Tomorrow you'll explore the depths, but tonight you just float, just exist, just be. Part of an alien ocean under an alien sky, moving with rhythms older than Earth itself. Now you begin to sink. Not quickly, never quickly on Titan, but steadily, gently, drawn downward by currents too subtle to perceive. You're leaving the surface behind, descending into the deep places of Kraken Mare, where sunlight has never reached, where pressure builds, where mysteries wait in the darkness. 10 feet down, 20 feet, 30 feet. The orange glow from above fades slowly, so slowly, becoming dimmer, like a candle seen through amber glass, then through dark honey, then barely visible at all. The pressure embraces you, gentle but firm. It's nothing like the crushing depths of Earth's oceans. Even at the bottom of Kraken Mare, the pressure is less than you'd feel 50 feet underwater on Earth. But you feel it, a soft squeeze, a holding, like being wrapped in heavy blankets. 40 feet, 50 feet. The temperature hasn't changed, still that constant minus 290 degrees. It never changes down here, season after season, year after year, century after century. The same perfect cold, the same liquid darkness. You're not alone in the depths. Other currents flow here, rivers within the sea, layers of slightly different density sliding past each other like silk scarves in slow motion. You can feel them, taste them, each one carrying its own story from distant parts of the mare. 60 feet down, 70. The liquid around you is purer now. The heavy hydrocarbons have settled out, leaving mostly clean methane with traces of ethane. It's clearer, even though there's no light to see through it. You can sense the clarity, the simplicity, the purity. Strange things happen to liquid methane under pressure. Its molecules pack tighter, arrange themselves in patterns that don't exist at the surface. Almost crystalline, but still flowing, still liquid, like being water and ice at the same time. 80 feet, 90 feet, 100 feet down. The silence here is absolute. No sound from the surface reaches this deep. No waves, no rain, no whisper of wind. Just the vast quiet of an alien sea, the kind of silence that exists nowhere on Earth. Perfect, complete, eternal. But wait, there is sound. If you listen carefully, if you become still enough. The deep groaning of ice shelves adjusting far away, transmitted through the liquid like whale songs. Vibrations so low you feel them more than hear them, in your bones, if you had bones. You encounter your first deep current, a river of slightly warmer methane flowing along the bottom, warmer by just 1/10 of a degree, but that's enough. It rises, creates a slow fountain in the darkness, a plume that takes hours to reach the surface. 150 feet down, 200 feet. The pressure is building, changing you. Your molecules respond, packing tighter, moving slower, becoming something between liquid and solid. A phase of matter that has no name because it doesn't exist on Earth. Here in the depths, time moves differently, or seems to. Minutes feel like hours, hours like days. There's no reference point, no way to measure. Just the slow circulation of deep currents,
the patient settling of sediment, the eternal night. 250 down, 300 feet. You're in the deep basins now, the places Cassini could only guess at, where the seafloor is still a mystery, covered in sediments that have been accumulating since Titan was young. The bottom appears gradually, not like hitting ground, but like entering fog in reverse. First you sense it, then you feel its influence on the current. Then finally, you're there, hovering just above the seafloor of an alien ocean. It's soft, the bottom. Millions of years of organic snow compressed into something like mud, but not mud. Like petroleum jelly mixed with sand. If sand was made of frozen nitrogen, and petroleum was liquid methane. Everything here defies comparison. You settle onto this soft floor, not sinking in, but not quite floating either. You're in that strange space between liquid and solid, between motion and stillness. You could stay here forever, part of the sediment, part of the sea. But the currents won't let you rest, not yet. They pull you along the bottom, slowly, so slowly, through valleys no human eyes have seen, past cliffs of water ice that rise like underwater mountains, through canyons carved by processes we don't understand. The pressure here does strange things, creates exotic ices that shouldn't exist. Ice that forms at temperatures where water should be harder than steel, but somehow becomes plastic, flowing like glacier ice. But in fast forward, if fast forward meant centuries instead of millennia. Sometimes you encounter pockets of different liquids, ethane pools that settle in depressions, being slightly denser than methane. They shimmer. Even in total darkness, they somehow shimmer. Boundaries between liquids that don't want to mix. You're so deep now that even Saturn's tides barely reach you. Just the faintest pull, the gentle reminder that there's a universe above. But down here, the sea has its own rules, its own rhythms, its own slow dreams. 350 feet, 400 feet, approaching the deepest parts of Kraken Mare.
Here, in the deepest places, everything is still. So still. The currents that brought you here have slowed to almost nothing. Just the faintest drift, like the last breath before sleep. You're suspended in liquid darkness, in perfect silence, in absolute peace. This is the abyssal plain of Kraken Mare, 400, maybe 500 feet down. No one knows exactly. No probe has ever reached here. No signal has ever returned from these depths. You're in uncharted territory, the edge of human knowledge. The pressure has transformed everything. The methane around you is different now, denser, more viscous, moving like honey, like syrup, like dreams. Your own molecules have compressed, become something new, something that exists nowhere else. If life exists on Titan, it would be here, in these deep places, where energy gradients create possibilities, where complex chemistry has had billions of years to experiment, to try new arrangements, to perhaps, create something that moves with purpose. But you see nothing, sense nothing, just the profound emptiness that might be fullness, the darkness that might hide wonders, or might hide nothing at all, both equally beautiful, equally peaceful. Time has no meaning here. You've been sinking for hours, or days, or years. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters except the gentle embrace of pressure, the soft hold of the depths, the perfect stillness. You drift over landscapes that might be alive, mounds on the seafloor that could be geological or biological, patterns in the sediment that look almost deliberate, almost designed. But in this darkness, in this cold, who can say? The liquid here is layered, stratified by density, by chemistry, by temperature. Each layer sliding past the others so slowly you can barely perceive it, like sheets of glass moving past each other, transparent, invisible, but there. Sometimes, rarely, something disturbs the depths. A bubble of nitrogen rising from some deep vent, taking hours to ascend, or a chunk of solid methane ice falling from above, taking hours to descend. These events are momentous down here, earthquakes of activity in the stillness. You encounter zones where the chemistry is different, where catalysts might exist, where reactions might proceed that are impossible elsewhere. Places where methane breaks apart and recombines, where ethane forms and dissolves, where complexity emerges from simplicity. The seafloor itself might be active, cryovolcanoes that erupt liquid water instead of lava, at temperatures that would flash freeze any Earth life. But here it's the warm fluid, the bringer of energy, the driver of change. You feel vibrations through the liquid, seismic whispers from the core of Titan itself. This moon is alive geologically, with a subsurface ocean of liquid water 60 miles below, separated from this methane sea by a shell of ice thicker than Earth's continents. What dreams might such a world have? A moon with 2 oceans, one of water, one of methane, separated by miles of ice but connected by chemistry, by heat, by the slow exchange of molecules over geological time. You're drifting now, no longer sinking, no longer rising, just suspended. The currents here move in circles, gyres that take centuries to complete. You could follow them forever, around and around, a meditation in motion. The darkness is complete, but somehow not oppressive. It's welcoming, embracing, like the darkness behind closed eyelids, the darkness where dreams begin, where consciousness dissolves into something larger. If you listen, really listen, you can hear the heartbeat of Titan itself, the slow pulse of tidal heating, the rhythm of convection in the deep interior,
The whisper of molecules arranging and rearranging. It's so quiet, so slow, so patient. Your molecules are slowing too. The cold that preserves everything here, that stops decay, that holds every molecule in near perfect stillness. You're becoming part of it, part of the eternal quiet, part of the deep dream. There's no need to move now, no need to flow. You can just exist, just be, part of the deepest sea on Titan, part of something ancient and patient and perfect in its stillness. The pressure holds you like a mother holds a child, gentle but secure, safe, protected, hidden from all the chaos of the universe above. Down here where nothing changes, where nothing needs to change. You could stay here forever, part of the sediment, part of the sea, part of the slow chemistry that might, in 1 billion years, in 10 billion years, create something new. But not now. Now is just stillness, just peace, just the perfect embrace of the depths. Rest now. Rest in the deep kingdoms of Kraken Mare, where time stops, where thought stops, where everything becomes one with the liquid darkness. Rest, drift, dissolve. You're safe here, held by pressure, held by cold, held by the ancient patience of an alien sea. Let go, let go, let go. The depths are calling you deeper, always deeper, into sleep, into dreams, into the perfect stillness that waits at the heart of everything.
You've been in the depths so long now, so long, that you've become part of them. Your molecules barely move, barely vibrate, held in the perfect stillness of -290 degrees, in the perfect pressure of the deep. But even here, even in this eternal quiet, change comes, slow as centuries, patient as stone, but inevitable as gravity itself. You feel it first as the tiniest warming, not even 1/10 of a degree, just the faintest whisper of heat from below, from Titan's core, from that hidden ocean of water far beneath the ice. The warmth that drives everything, eventually, in its own time. This warmth creates a current, so slow you could watch it for days and barely see movement, but it's there, lifting you, carrying you upward, beginning your return journey, your part in the eternal cycle. You rise, inch by inch, foot by foot. The pressure lessens so gradually you don't notice, like falling asleep in reverse, except you're already asleep, already dreaming. This is just a different kind of dream. The methane around you is changing, becoming less dense, more fluid. The exotic phases you experienced in the depths dissolve back into normal liquid, normal for Titan anyway. Nothing here is normal by Earth standards. Everything is miracle. Everything is mystery. 50 feet from the bottom now, 100 feet. The darkness is still complete, will be complete for hundreds more feet, but something has changed. The stillness is less absolute. There's movement, circulation, life in the physical sense, if not the biological. You're part of a convection cell that's been cycling for millions of years. Down in the cold, up in the warmth. Down in the cold, up in the warmth. Each cycle taking months, years. Nobody knows. Time means nothing to convection. It just continues, patient, eternal. 200 feet from the bottom, 300 feet. You can sense the surface far above. Not see it, not yet, but feel its presence. The way you can feel the sky even with your eyes closed. There's an openness above, a possibility, a promise of return. But you're in no hurry. There's never any hurry here. The cycle continues whether you rush or drift, whether you sleep or wake. It carries you regardless, gentle as a parent carrying a sleeping child. You pass through layers you remember from your descent, but they're different now. You're different now. You've been to the depths, been compressed, been transformed. You carry deep molecules with you, exotic compounds that only form under pressure, bringing them up like gifts from another world. The circulation is beautiful in its simplicity. Methane evaporates from the surface, rises into the atmosphere, condenses into clouds, falls as rain, flows in rivers, fills the seas, sinks to the depths, rises again, each molecule following its own path, but all part of the same dance. On Earth, water takes days or weeks to complete such a cycle. Here, methane takes decades, centuries. The whole moon breathing in geological time, inhaling, exhaling, patient as meditation itself. You're rising faster now, if you can call a few feet per hour fast. The current strengthens as it approaches the surface, drawing in more liquid, becoming a fountain in slow motion, a geyser of patience. 400 feet from the surface, 300 feet, 200 feet. The faintest glow appears above, orange filtered through hundreds of feet of methane, like sunset seen from underwater, like dawn through amber glass. Other currents join yours, other cycles merging, each bringing its own chemistry, its own history. You're part of a vast circulation now, the heartbeat of Kraken Mare, the pulse that keeps this sea alive. 100 feet from the surface, 50 feet. The light grows stronger, though strong is relative. It's still dimmer than starlight on Earth, but after the absolute darkness of the depths, it seems like sunrise, like revelation. Other currents join yours, other cycles merging, each bringing its own chemistry, its own history. You're part of a vast circulation now, the heartbeat of Kraken Mare, the pulse that keeps this sea alive. 100 feet from the surface, 50 feet. The light grows stronger, though strong is relative. It's still dimmer than starlight on Earth, but after the absolute darkness of the depths, it seems like sunrise, like revelation. And then, gently, so gently, you reach the surface. You emerge into the orange twilight of Titan's eternal dusk. The sky, exactly as you left it, unchanged, unchangeable. The same orange haze, the same invisible Saturn, the same patient rain falling from the same endless clouds.
But you're different. You've completed a cycle, been to the depths and back. You've seen what no eyes have seen, felt what no consciousness has felt. You've been part of something larger than yourself, larger than worlds. The rain continues, as it has for billions of years, as it will for billions more. Each drop making its own journey, from cloud to sea to cloud again. Each following the same path, but each unique, each irreplaceable. You could evaporate now, rise back into the atmosphere, become cloud, become rain, begin the cycle again. Or you could sink, return to the depths, continue the circulation. There's no wrong choice, no right choice, just the eternal cycle continuing. Some of you does evaporate, molecules lifting into the thick air, so slowly, one by one, while other parts sink, drawn back down by the patient currents. You're not one thing anymore, you're everything, part of the whole system, the heartbeat of Kraken Mare, the pulse that keeps this sea alive. This is the secret of Titan, the lesson of the methane seas. Everything is cycle. Everything returns. Nothing is lost, only transformed, only relocated, only continuing the dance that started when the solar system was young. You drift at the surface now, neither rising nor falling, just being. Part of Kraken Mare, part of Titan, part of the vast story that connects every world to every other world. Every molecule in the universe came from the same beginning, will return to the same end. All of us stardust, all of us temporary arrangements of eternal atoms. The waves lap gently, so gently, inch-high ripples that take minutes to pass. The rhythm, older than Earth, older than life. The rhythm of liquid finding its level, of gravity and fluid dynamics, of physics itself made visible. You're sleepy now, so sleepy. The cycle continues whether you watch or not, whether you're conscious or not. You can let go, let the currents carry you, let the cycle complete itself without your attention. Just drift, just float, just be. Part of the rain, part of the sea, part of the clouds, part of everything and nothing, dissolved into the eternal patience of Titan, into the endless cycle of methane and time. Sleep now, sleep in the arms of an alien ocean, where the waves whisper in frequencies too low to hear, where the tides breathe in geological time, where everything waits and waits. The cycle continues, will always continue, with or without you, carrying you whether you're awake or asleep, whether you know it or not. Let go, drift, dissolve, become one with the eternal circulation. Sleep, sleep, sleep.
And so, here we are, floating together in the methane seas of Titan, a billion miles from home, yet somehow exactly where we need to be. Your journey as a drop of liquid methane is complete, but also just beginning. The cycle never ends on Titan, just continues, patient and eternal as the cosmos itself. You've traveled from the highest clouds to the deepest seas, felt pressures no human has felt, seen darkness no eyes have seen. You've been rain and river and ocean. You've been transformed by cold and pressure into states of matter that exist nowhere on Earth. And through it all, Saturn has watched, that giant guardian, keeping its vigil over this strange moon with its methane rain and its impossible seas. I hope this journey has carried you far from the worries of Earth, far from the busy thoughts that keep you awake. You've been to a place where time moves like honey, where patience is measured in centuries, where even the rain falls slowly. If you're still awake, still listening to my voice, that's perfectly okay. There's no rush, no hurry. Titan has taught us that. Everything in its own time, everything in its own way. Maybe you're already dreaming, already drifting in your own ocean of sleep, where the waves are made of thoughts growing quieter and quieter and quieter still. Or maybe you're in that beautiful space between waking and sleeping, where you can hear my voice, but it seems to come from very far away, from across vast seas of darkness, gentle and patient as Titan's rain. Thank you for taking this journey with me, for trusting me to carry you to this distant moon, to transform you into something you've never been, to show you seas no human eyes have seen. If you're still here, still conscious enough to hear, I'd love to know what you thought of tonight's journey. Did the alien rain help you relax? Did the methane seas carry away your stress? Leave a comment when you wake, but only when you wake. For now, just rest. The waves of Kraken Mare continue their slow dance forever and always, and you can return there any time you need to. Anytime you need to remember what true patience feels like, what true peace feels like. You're back in your bed now, safe and warm. The familiar weight of your blankets like the gentle pressure of Titan's depths. The rhythm of your breathing like the eternal cycle of methane rain. But part of you remains on Titan, will always remain, a drop in an alien sea, patient and eternal, part of something so much larger than yourself, part of the cosmic dance of molecules and time. Sleep now, dear traveler. Sleep with the knowledge that you've been somewhere wonderful, somewhere impossible, somewhere that exists right now, this very moment, 886 million miles away. The methane seas are real. The orange skies are real. The rain that falls like snow is real. And in some small way, you've been part of it. You've added your story to Titan's story. Good night, sleep well, and dream. Dream of orange skies and gentle rain. Dream of seas that move like meditation. Dream of depths where time stops. Dream of cycles that never end. and know that somewhere far away, under the watchful eye of Saturn, the methane rain still falls, still flows, still finds its way to the sea, as you find your way to sleep. Good night, sweet dreams.